Hey, good morning, guys. Hope you guys are all doing well. So I get questions on a regular basis. Do I ever use my laser to lay out signs for my carving? And I have answered that once in a while, but I don't think I've ever showed how I use my laser to lay out signs. This is only really only for one specific customer. I do this, well, I would say I've done this maybe for other customers a couple times, maybe 3 or 4 times. But for this one customer that I have, I do this on a regular basis. This is a customer that is a chain of restaurants. So I'm going to kind of show you how the laser does the layout on this. I don't know if this is really applicable for any of you, but if it turns out you ever do get a laser, this is how I do it. So anyway, I'm filming this by myself, so I'm going to, on the next scene, I'm going to get close up and show you what we're doing. Hang on. So this is the computer screen, and this is Corel Draw, which is the program that we use to drive our lasers. Anyway, this is a file that I've had for this particular customer, and you can see there's a lot of different signs that I've done. I've probably done, I don't know, 30 or 40 signs for these guys over the years. Anyway, this is the one that I'm currently doing, and I'm doing the layout on a piece of pine, which I'm going to show you guys here in a second. So I've got it all set up, and again, there's a certain way to do this within Corel Draw to get the laser to cut it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically score the surface of the board, and you'll see that in a second. And that is, so I'll keep the, like if you look at my settings here, I don't know if you can see that, I speed at 100, power at 3, and that's the font that I'm using. So I put all my notes that I need to have in here, and again, sometimes these general managers or the chefs will be the same and they'll move to a different restaurant, so I keep all of this stuff in the file, and then I can just kind of put them together, or sometimes I have to type them out again. Anyway, so hang on just a second. I'm going to set the camera up, and we'll show you the laser actually firing this off and cutting this layout for me. Hold on. Okay guys, so here's the deal. I don't know how I lost the original film clip of this of the laser actually cutting my sign, but somehow I lost it. So I just set up a really quick test cut to show you what the laser actually does. Again, there's a lot of glare because this is a glass top. I'm going to try and zoom in there, but I don't know whether you can actually see the laser firing, but trust me, it is. And see, the focus is going to be messed up. So it is actually firing. That's kind of what it looks like at 100 speed and 3% power. The next scene that you will see, which I've already done because I'm doing this after the fact because I'm an idiot. Anyway, I don't know how I lost that last clip, but so I'm inserting this just to give you an idea of what the laser looks like when it fires, and looks like it's just about done, and I'll bring it out and kind of show you what it looks like. Yeah. Alright, so now I'm just going to, I don't know if you heard that beep, I'm going to take that board out. This says test cut 100 speed and 3% power. But that's what it looks like when it's all done. But anyway. Alright guys, so here is the board with the layout done. I know it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see how that laser just kind of, it basically just kind of scribed the lettering in there, and when I'm carving it, that gives me plenty of layout to go by when I get to carving it. And so we'll kind of go into that, but basically that kind of gives you an idea of just simply gives me a line to go by, and what my goal is to use that layout and carve it away, because that really is burnt into the board, but it's just barely scored. So all of that probably would be gone even with just sanding. But anyway, that kind of gives you an idea. When we get into the carving, I'm not sure how much of that you'll see. That's why I wanted to do a separate little scene here so you can see what it looks like. But again, that was at 3% power and 100% speed, or 100 speed. Anyway, guys, we'll move on to the carving. Alright guys, we are out here on the porch, gorgeous day, and it's time to make some sawdust. So I am using, you guys saw the layout, I don't know if I mentioned this, I'm using Select Pine, 1x12 Select Pine. This is, I've made, gosh, I guess maybe 30 or 40 of these things. But anyway, they're fairly simple to carve. I'm using my 60-degree V-groove, and I just touched it up because it was getting kind of dull. I've set it at right at 3/16, which I think is going to be about right. I may have to adjust it as I go, but there are some letters on here that are smaller, so I think that's going to be about right. And let's just get into it. I'm ready. Probably the nicest day we've had this year. Oh man, I love it. All right, lights, and here we go. So a couple things that I forgot to mention before. Number one, I backed it off. 3/16 was a little bit deep. I backed it off. It was cutting just a little heavy. So second thing is, this font is called Dom Casual BT. This is the font that they've been using, that they wanted right from the beginning.
Can you blow that off? I'm going to see if I can see the letters, because I can't really see them that well. Zoom in on those.
Oh, on the actual layout?
Yeah.
I think they got a really good sense of that on the last time. Now, the one thing about this, guys, is the neat thing about this font is I want to cut just beyond that score, because, and you can see, and I've kind of learned this over the years of doing the layout with the laser, that even though that's barely cut in there, it's cut in there that it might show up when I sand if I don't cut beyond that line. Normally that would be an issue with most fonts. This happens to be one that is kind of a, you know, just a freehand kind of drawing font anyway, so it really doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the look of the letter. Like right in here, I don't know if you can see that, but I kind of came short of the line a little bit there, and short of the line a little bit there. So I will go back and touch those up, because I want to cut just beyond that line so I don't have to worry about getting black down in there when I spray it, and then having it come up black when I sand it off. All right, here we go. something else I want to mention. This cutter, even though it's cutting really good, I mean, it's cutting really good. It's cutting this like butter. But if you go slow enough, and I've mentioned this a time or two before, if you go slow enough, it will burn. And I don't know if you can see any from that direction, from that angle. But I have a few little burn marks here that they just happen because I'm going slow, and I need to go slow just because I want to make sure and get all of those little spots. In fact, I missed one right there. I want to go back and get that. So anyway, just because you may be, if you're getting burning like I am on this, that's not necessarily indicative of the cutter being dull. It's being as I'm not going fast enough for the wood not to burn. So it doesn't matter because it's all going to be sprayed black and sanded off anyway. Anyway, so I'm going to do a couple more letters here, and then I'll do the rest of it off camera. Here we go. Okay, so you can see, and if you guys notice, I'm actually lifting my base quite a bit. Dang gnats! It's gnat time of the year. Gnat time of the year.
Good job.
Oh, that was good. Huh? So I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, you didn't tell me you were going
I'm sorry. Yeah. It was just off the cuff. So can you see any of those burn marks down in there, babe? So that's what I'm talking about in burning. So just because you guys may be getting burning, that could be your router bit. But in this particular instance, this thing's cutting really good. But it's because I'm going so slow, being very meticulous to get into those tight areas. And that's why I'm kind of lifting my, even though I'm set slightly less than 3/16, I'm still lifting my router bit in some of those narrow spots. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to finish the rest of this up off of camera, and then when we come back, the carving will be all done. We'll get into the spraying and staining. Remember, this one has to be stained, and I got a process for that. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay. All right, guys. So what I've decided to do here, because this is pine, and that's the one that has a tendency to bleed. Number one, I'm using a flat primer. Flat black primer, and again I'm going to have a light touch with it. I don't want to overspray. You definitely don't want to do that, but you can see I've also taped off a lot of the surface. Just takes a few minutes to do, and it's worth it. It's less sanding that I'll need to do, and being as I use a certain process.
The underside, babe.
Huh?
The underside.
The underside?
Yeah.
The back side?
All the way around.
Yeah, I guess so. Because of the way I do the process now as far as the staining goes, and we'll get into that in a minute here.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to bring it back down. Woo.
Yep.
Check that out.
Vicky likes playing with her new camera and tripod. And anyway, so I light touch on the spray. You don't want to overspray this thing. And then after this dries, what we're going to do, again, this is unlike, although I've done this once or twice before, because I'm going to stain this pine, the stain normally would cause this black to streak. And so what I do, what I've discovered, and actually I think somebody suggested I do this, but anyway, what I do is I will spray this thing with a couple coats of clear to seal that black in, so that when I go and apply my stain on the surface, I can just wipe the stain on the surface, and it hopefully will not cause the black to streak. So I'm going to let that sit, and then I'm going to give it 2 coats of this clear. You know, probably a half hour in between. Then when we come back, we'll sand, and then we'll apply the stain. So we'll be right back. All right, folks, so it's time to do some sanding. So the one thing that I did here that I wished I had done on the one that I did a few months ago is taped off most of this stuff, because when I did this before, I don't think I taped this off, and that meant we were going through 2 coats of clear, the black, and the sanding sealer, like 4 coats of stuff. Whereas here, other than right around the letters, all we've got is sanding sealer. So that should make our sanding process go much better. We're going to find out. So I've got this one. I did the back already, and it came out nice. So I like the way the back looks. So I've got a 60 on here, and we'll do a 60, and then I'll change this disc to an 80, and then we'll go back and do a finish sand with a 120. So here we go. Okay, let's go with the 80. So we pretty much got our use out of that disc. Now we'll put the 80 on. This should go much faster now that all that other stuff is off of there. The reveal. Here we go. Very nice. Okay, so we're going to set up, and for the staining operation, we'll come right back and we'll get a stain on this thing. All right, guys, so what I'm trying to accomplish here is come up with a good cedar color stain. So, and here's a good, kind of a good tip. The last one that I made, I mixed these two stains together and I made notes on the actual order of what I mixed together. So that's what I've done again to try and emulate kind of a cedar color. And I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's going to be pretty close to what I've done for them in the past. That spray cedar stain that I used in the past.
Stain?
Huh?
Cedar stain?
Hey. Now I have to sneeze. I didn't have to before you emasculated me there. All right, here we go. This is the part that makes me the most nervous, honestly. But let's just see what happens. Oh, shoot. I know what I forgot.
What?
I didn't get my clean rag.
Where?
I don't know where, actually. Now, they say that with pine, you really should have put conditioner, like wood conditioner on there. I've never done that. They say that if you don't, that it kind of ends up becoming kind of splotchy. I just never have seen a need for it as of yet, but I don't do this a lot either. Now I'm sure it'll be splotchy. Thank you, babe. So the reason I put the clear on to seal those black letters is because if you didn't and you tried to stain over those letters, it would just pull that black right out of there and smear it right across your board. So just as a note, I am not a professional at staining, guys. I've done very, very little of it. So all of you professionals out there,
be nice. Yeah,
be nice. I just want to make that caveat right off the bat. I am not. It's one of the reasons I've always kind of stayed away from stain, because it's just not really my thing. And in the past, I've always completely avoided it because of the black streaking across the board. But I've kind of somewhat solved that issue.
Right above the EA, you need to put a little more.
The EA here?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I just always kind of wing it, you know. A lot of people would apply this with a sponge brush, but I really don't want to do that because I don't want to get down in those grooves any more than I have to. I could do that easily on the back. Anyway, yeah, I like it. I think it looks pretty close to a cedar color. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do the back. Then we have to let this thing dry for a few hours. Then we'll come back, put some clear on, and we'll be done. So we'll be right back. Alright guys, there it is. So I've got 3 coats of this clear on it. Again, this is just an interior sign for that restaurant chain that I make these for. Again, I've made a bunch of them over the years, but I'm really happy with the way it came out. I love my new staining process that eliminates the black streaking across the board. So I hope this was helpful for you. Hope it was useful. I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to get around the other side of the camera because I'm filming this by myself. See? There we go. Anyway, guys, thanks again so much for watching. Thanks for all of the love, all of the great comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to subscribe. And as always, if you have questions, please email me, eric@makeawoodsign.com. Please leave us comments on this, whether this was useful for you or not. That helps YouTube kind of spread it around so more people see what we're doing. Share this video with people that you want to, that you think might want to learn how to carve signs. And again, we love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.